All right, so today we're diving into something pretty unique.
Yeah.
It's called Gobaldatcom.
Global.com. Okay.
And basically, it's this new media platform based in South Korea.
Okay.
And their whole mission is to tackle, like, injustice and abuse of power.
Interesting.
But the thing that's really caught my attention is the scale of this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they've got this massive network of media partners,
Okay.
like over 1,300
Wow.
worldwide,
Really?
including some huge names like FOX,
I see.
And on top of that, they've got this data analysis system that's supposed to, like, revolutionize the way they ensure accuracy in their reporting. So I'm really curious to see, like, could this be the future of investigative journalism?
Yeah, that's a big question.
Yeah.
I think what's really interesting is how Global.com is really kind of flipping the script on how we think about traditional media.
Right.
Like, their goal is to give individuals more power, to hold those in power accountable, which could lead to some pretty significant shifts in influence.
Yeah, okay, so let's break this down a bit.
Sure.
Like, how does Global.com actually work in practice?
Okay, so imagine this.
Okay.
You see a local official doing something shady, right? Abusing their power. So you gather your evidence, could be photos, videos, documents, whatever you have,
Okay.
and then you submit a report through Global.com.
All right, and then what?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Global.com has this whole team of reporters, and they meticulously verify every single detail of your report.
Yeah.
Like, they're checking sources, cross-referencing info, really digging deep.
So they're not just taking anyone's word for it.
Exactly. They want to make absolutely sure that the report is credible.
Makes sense, especially these days with all the misinformation flying around.
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge concern in the digital age.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's say the report checks out. Then what happens?
Well, that's when Global.com's network really comes into play. They work with all their media partners, newspapers, TV stations, online outlets.
Right.
To get that story out there.
And it's not just like traditional articles, right?
No, we're talking videos, social media posts, even podcasts.
Wow, so they're really using every platform they can.
Absolutely. The goal is to reach as wide of an audience as possible.
That's a huge network, though.
Yeah.
Doesn't that create some potential issues, too?
Like, what do you mean?
Well, what if a report targets someone powerful?
Okay.
Someone with connections to these media outlets?
I see what you're saying.
Could that influence how the story is covered?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a valid concern.
Right.
Global.com claims to be totally committed to unbiased reporting.
Sure.
But you can't deny that there's potential for conflicts of interest.
Right.
And I think it'll be really interesting to see how they deal with that as they grow and start tackling more and more sensitive topics.
Yeah, for sure. So who's the mastermind behind all of this?
So the guy behind Global.com is Kim Young-do.
Okay.
He's the CEO of iTimes Media.
Got it.
And his vision is pretty ambitious.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to create what he calls a new paradigm of Korean media.
Interesting. What does that mean?
Well, he's talking about a media landscape that's way more transparent.
Oh.
And less reliant on, just government sources.
I see.
He wants citizens to have a much more active role in shaping the narrative.
That's a pretty big departure from the way things have traditionally been done in Korea.
Yeah, it is.
So let's talk about Global.com's data analysis system for a second.
Sure.
Because that seems to be one of the things that really sets them apart.
Yeah, for sure.
What's so special about it?
Well, basically, it's all about bringing a whole new level of objectivity to their reporting.
Okay.
They've teamed up with Korea Data Analysis, KDA.
Okay.
And together they've developed this system that evaluates both corporations and individuals based on, like, hard data.
Interesting. So what kind of data are we talking about?
I mean, it's a lot of stuff, right? Like corporate financial records, legal history, any public statements they've made. Anything that can give them a more well-rounded picture.
So it's not just taking people at their word.
Exactly. It's about looking at the bigger picture.
Right.
And using data to uncover any patterns of wrongdoing.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So like going back to that example of the local official, right?
Yeah.
This data analysis could back up the report, right?
Right. Exactly.
Provide more evidence.
Let's say you're that small business owner we talked about earlier, and you think you're being targeted by a bigger corporation.
Oh.
Global.com could use their data analysis to see if that corporation has, a history of shady business practices
I see.
or any legal violations.
That would definitely lend more credibility to the report.
Exactly, and make it much harder for that corporation to just brush it off.
Yeah, That makes sense. But relying so heavily on reports from everyday citizens,
Yeah.
doesn't that open them up to some potential problems too?
Like what?
Well, what about false accusations?
Right.
Or people using the platform just to get revenge on someone?
Yeah, that's definitely something they have to be super careful about.
Right.
That's why that verification process is so important.
Yeah.
But you're right, there's always a chance that someone could try to manipulate the system.
For sure.
It's a tough balance,
Yeah.
trying to empower citizens while also protecting people from false accusations.
It's a tough one for sure. What about the legal side of things?
Oh yeah.
Have they run into any legal trouble?
I mean, they're definitely navigating a tricky legal landscape.
Right.
They could face lawsuits if they publish false information.
Even if they didn't know it was false at the time?
Yeah, potentially.
Wow.
So they have to be incredibly thorough with their fact-checking and their legal review.
To protect themselves.
Yeah, minimize those risks as much as possible.
Yeah, it sounds like they're walking a tightrope.
Yeah, it's a risky endeavor for sure.
But it's definitely ambitious.
Oh, absolutely.
And, it has the potential to be a real game changer.
I think so.
I'm really curious to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, me too.
Not only in South Korea, but, potentially globally.
It could have a ripple effect.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you think, could a similar platform work in other countries?
That's a good question.
What kind of impact would it have?
Yeah, what do you think?
I don't know. It's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, something to mull over.
For sure. Well, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on gobaldatcom.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes.
Absolutely. In the meantime, I'd encourage everyone listening to check out gobaldatcom for yourselves.
Yeah.
See what you think.
For sure.
It's a story that's just getting started.
Absolutely.
All right, that's all the time we have for today.
Great deep dive.
Yeah, this is a good one.
I learned a lot.
Me too. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you next time.
See you later.